Okay, this is the second part of our lesson where we are going to figure out a little bit more complicated problem. Okay, this is more like the second part of your homework and the second part of your classwork. So the first piece is that sometimes you'll have the name and the number. Okay, so it says oxygen 18 or O18. You saw this in the simulation that you did on the gizmo. Now, when you have this, they're telling you about a specific isotope. Here, it was like the most common isotope, figure it out. But here, I'm telling you exactly which isotope it is, and you have to fill in the correct information. So we're going to go through this step by step by step again. Our first step is always going to be atomic number. Okay. Atomic number is really easy. We are going to find the whole number on the periodic table. That number is 8. Okay, so we're going to write that number down. This is the whole number from the periodic table. Okay, now if this is 8, then this number of protons must also be 8. So this is 8. Why? Because the atomic number is the number of protons. Okay. Our next step is going to be the number of electrons. We know that the number of electrons is going to be 8. In order for the charge to be 0, the number of protons has to equal the number of electrons. We're now going to jump to figure out mass number. Mass number is easy. I'm sorry, not mass number, atomic mass, which is sometimes called average atomic mass. The average atomic mass is the decimal number. So we're going to write in that 15.999, and the units is AMU. Okay. And again, this is the decimal on the periodic table. The more you practice this, the easier it will get. Now, in this case, we cannot simply round this number. You cannot round it if they give you the name with a number. This number is your mass number. The mass number is 18, and that comes from here. It's in the name. Okay, it's in the name. So now that we have the mass number, we need to figure out the number of neutrons. The last time we did a little equation in order to figure that out. Okay, I'm going to do that equation up top here. So in this case, the equation is the mass is equal to the protons plus the neutrons. Okay, we're trying to figure out the neutrons, so that means M minus P equals N. The mass is 18. The number of protons is 8. That equals 10. So my number of neutrons is 10. All right, nuclear symbol. Okay. With the nuclear symbol, they talked about this in the simulation. The top number is the mass number, and the bottom number is the atomic number. So with that, I'm going to put my symbol O. My mass number will go on top. My atomic number will go on the bottom. Again, the bottom number here. What color do I want to make this? Yes. The bottom number here is this number. I'm sorry, the top number is that number, and the bottom number is this number. Okay. The number at the top, we call that a superscript because it flies through the air like Superman. And the number at the bottom, we call a subscript because it is down low, like a submarine. All right, let's talk about how to do the second problem. The second problem seems like it's going to be harder, but it actually, in my opinion, is a little bit easier. So when you have the symbol like this, your first step is to figure out what element it is. This is neon, okay? Neon. So I'm going to write out the word neon. And because the top number is the same here, okay, that is also what needs to go here. So this is neon 22. Okay. All right. So now our atomic number, we can find that in two different ways. We can have a periodic table. We can look at neon. We can see that whole number is 10. So we can find it two different ways. We can find it one because the top number, I'm sorry, the number on the periodic table is the whole number. But we also can find it because it is the same as this number at the bottom, the subscript. Okay. Now, if that is true, then this also must be true. This is a 10. And because protons and neutrons have to equal, I'm sorry, protons and electrons have to equal each other, then this also must be 10. My mass number is going to be 22. How do I know that? Because the top number here is 22. And whatever this mass number is, this number is going to be, and this number is going to be. Now, average atomic mass, sometimes just called atomic mass, is not the same as mass number. This is always the decimal. So we're going to look on the periodic table. We're going to find neon. Neon is 20.180. Okay, that's coming from the periodic table. And it's hard to see, but this is supposed to be red and that is supposed to be orange. Maybe let's just make it a little bit different so it stands out. Okay. All right. Now we got to go back to find the number of neutrons. Remember that mass is equal to protons plus neutrons. That means that mass minus protons is going to be equal to neutrons. So if the mass number is 22 and the proton number is 10, this is going to be 12. Okay. So in order to figure this one, we use this. I'm showing you the dots so that you can see how all of the different math is kind of connected. But that's it.